You are listening to CFDb interviews, and we're here today with Dr. Ted Roberts to discuss the new Conquer series, The Battle Plan for Purity. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, Dr. Ted. Do I have your permission to start recording the interview?
You sure do.
So, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Pure Desire Ministries International?
I'd love to. I love to brag on God, is what I mean. I met Christ in a bunker in Vietnam after having to kill people at close range. My wife was a born-again Jew, and she sent me a letter telling of her love for her Lord and her love for me, and I couldn't deny her faith. So as I knelt down in the middle of a rocket attack, 122 millimeter Katyusha rockets coming in, I can still hear them in my head sometimes. I knelt down and said, God, I always believed you. I know who this Jesus is, but sign me up. And it started the process. Long story short, I ended up in the pastorate, and I discovered I was an alcoholic, a rageaholic, and a sex addict, which is part of being a Marine Corps fighter pilot. But God miraculously healed me and set me free. It was a long struggle, but He set me free. In pastoring a church that we were sent to, it grew to the largest church in the state of Oregon. I looked around and realized 85% of the people coming in the front door were addicts, and most of them were sex addicts. So that's when we started Pure Desire Ministries, because there was absolutely nothing available. And we had several thousand people go through the process, and we discovered that probably 35% of the guys in the Pure Desire groups didn't attend any church. It became major evangelism outreach for the church. And since we found ourselves in that situation, I started traveling and speaking at other churches, and now we're doing it full time. Our office counsels about 50 to 60 pastors per month who are sex addicts and have nowhere to go. And we've done some clinical studies of the church, discovered some amazing statistics. These are over 3,000 data points. In the average evangelical church this weekend, 50 to 72% of the guys sitting in the pews will be sex addicts. They don't know they are, but they are. 25 to 30% of the women are, and 50 to 58% of the pastors are. So there's no way we can have revival in our present situation in the church.
Right.
And trying harder, that's not going to solve the problem. We have to realize that sexual bondage at its core is not about sex. It's about the way we medicate pain. So it's not primarily a moral problem. It has moral implications, but it's primarily a brain problem. If we don't realize that, we're not going to be able to set free people who are in such bondage who want to get free, and we'll never experience revival in the church as we know it today.
Right. Your testimonies really touched my heart, and it also touches my heart to see how much struggle there is out there right within the church. So can you tell us more about the new Conquer series and who it would benefit, as well as if it includes teaching instructions for ministry leaders?
Great question. The Conquer series came out of the blue to us. Jeremy Wiles, who's a Christian film producer, wanted to do the Conquer series, and he called me up and said, I'd like to do a movie on pornography from a Christian perspective. And I told him I'm not interested. And he said, well, why? I said, well, the church points out the problem but doesn't have any solutions that work. He says, well, you don't understand. These are his words. We've looked on the internet for the last 3 months. You're the only guy that seems to make any sense. So I tested him. I said, well, where are you filming it? And he said, well, we read several of your books. So we rented a Warbird Museum in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Your first set they'll be shooting on will be 5 fighter aircraft behind you. You'll be teaching 50 guys from Campus Crusade. So I said, sign me up. So it's a 5 DVD set. And what it does is it helps sexual bondage be understandable for the leader, how to really help people come out, for guys that are in trouble, struggling, how they can come out. We tried to do Pure Desire groups for years, and we've done it, but it's an uphill battle because it's too much truth for the church to handle in one time. The Conquer series is kind of like a gentle intro, but it's really, really well done. There's no Christian cheese in it at all. Really, it's just phenomenal what he did. And it's very entertaining, high energy level, testosterone, and it's really got some great scenes in it. And it's got experts, not just myself, but 5 different experts from around the world who are experts in this area who are Christian. And it's great for training the average guy, and every guy in the church ought to see this series. because when you got 50, 60% of your buddies are in bondage, you need to know how to help them get out. And if you're a pastor or leader, you've got to be trained in this issue, or you're going to be preaching irrelevant content.
That's very true. What about the women? Is this a tool that women can use as well, or do you plan to make a separate series for women?
Well, it's interesting enough that questions come up, and so some of the ladies, pure desire groups are not just for guys. There's betrayal and beyond groups for the wives of husbands who are addicts, because if you just have groups for guys in the church, it'll never work. You have to help the wife, because she's going to have tremendous trauma when her husband starts telling the truth of what he's been doing.
Right.
So some of the ladies have picked up the series and they watched it and they loved it. One lady, she was so mad at her betrayal and beyond leader that her husband was acting out. She was just fed up. She watched the Conquer series, came back and repented, says, I get it now, and it really saved their marriage. So the women can watch DVD number 2 on the brain and DVD number 4 on trauma. It's very good. But hopefully in the near future we'll have a series for women. It'll be estrogen overloaded instead of testosterone overloaded.
Right. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great idea, and it's definitely a need for so many people out there within the church and without. Are there any more testimonies that you can share with us today from any that have gone through the series?
Well, we've had churches call in this week. First shot right out of the battle, 150 people showed up, and the pastor said, we've never seen a series like this where the guys don't even move. They're locked in. And there's been a number of marriages already saved by the series. And it's a great, great intro to really start the ministry of significant healing from sexual bondage in your church. It's just, I'm just blown away by how good it is. And I know I'm part of it, but I'm not prejudiced because I didn't make it. So it's really excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to helping spread the word about it. That's one of the main reasons for the interview today, because I know it's so important. Is there something that you want to share with the Christian Film Database listeners that you haven't already shared with us?
No, I just want to call out to the Christian community, especially the younger guys and gals. They realize what a problem this is. I just was looking at a survey of a college ministry, and 60% of their interns are struggling with this. It's just killing us. We've got to rise up and do something, or the church will be irrelevant in 10 to 15 years. And
that's true.
It's the number one thing that's killing the church right now. We think it's evangelism. We think it's church planting. We think it's church growth. Those are irrelevant. What we're doing right now, we're exporting our sickness. No matter where we go in the world, this is an issue and a problem. And I would encourage anyone who has any interest in this area at all to help people, to go to puredesire.org. Go to .org, not .com. .com is a porn site. puredesire.org. And look at the materials that are available. That's the way you can get the Conquer series. And we've got to have the church rise up and deal with this. We do Sexy Christian seminars as well, which helps church have a healthy view of sexuality. And that's where we give the intimacy quotient exam. It's actually a sexual addiction screening test. That's where we get the data on the level of addiction in the church. Remember, I had one pastor said, well, I know what the statistics are. 72% of guys, 72% of guys. Well, that'll not be true in our church because I preach the word. So we did the survey, walked up to him, and I said, you're right. It's 75% of your guys.
Wow.
So it's just insane. The church has got to get their head out of the sand. And the issue is there's nothing out there like the Conquer series, absolutely nothing. And it works. In our office, 95 to 98% of the pastors walk in the door. A year later, they walk out with a great marriage and they're healed. Average Pure Desire group runs 82 to 85% cure rate. So the stuff works. We've got to get a solution that really is powerful to take back what hell stole from the church.
Absolutely. So what you had just mentioned, I just forgot the title. Is that on the website as well?
Sexy Christians?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the website as well.
Okay, so it's puredesires.org?
Yeah, .org, not .com.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. You have been listening to CFDb Interviews. For more about CFDb, please check out our website at christianfilmdatabase.com.